Step away from the car and keep your hands where I can see them. Sergeant Daniel Mercer's voice cut across the rain-slick parking lane before Naomi Carter had even closed the driver's door. She froze beside the black luxury sedan, one hand still resting near the handle, while red and blue lights rolled across the hotel windows behind her. 2 patrol cars blocked the exit. Officer Luke Bennett stood several feet behind Mercer, watching carefully. Naomi looked at Mercer, then passed him toward the hotel garage. A dark sport utility vehicle was still parked near the lower ramp. Good. It had not moved yet. "Officer," she said, keeping her voice level, "you are making a mistake." Mercer raised his flashlight. "We got a report of a possible stolen vehicle." "Then check the plate." "We are checking everything." His light moved from Naomi's face to the sedan, then back again. "Step away." Naomi obeyed, slowly. She could have ended the misunderstanding in seconds. 1 wallet. 1 credential. 1 verification call. But doing that under flashing lights, surrounded by hotel guests holding phones near the windows, could destroy 6 weeks of undercover work. Inside the hotel, Victor Kane believed Naomi was an event logistics coordinator with access to high-end transportation records. He had no idea she was part of a federal task force tracking a multi-state luxury vehicle theft operation. He also had no idea that agents were waiting for him to lead them to the next buyer. Naomi checked the garage again. Mercer noticed. "What are you looking at?" "Something more important than this stop." His expression hardened. "That is not your decision." Naomi looked directly at him. "It will be if you keep me here another 5 minutes." Bennett's eyes shifted toward the garage. Mercer stepped closer. "Do you have identification?" Naomi felt rain gathering along the collar of her coat. "Yes." "Then show me." She did not move. "Call your supervisor first." Mercer gave a humorless laugh. "You are in no position to give instructions." Naomi kept her hands visible. "I am trying to keep you from making this bigger than it needs to be. If stories about dignity, justice, and the truth behind first impressions matter to you, subscribe now, because what happened on this block would soon force everyone standing there to reconsider what they thought they knew." Mercer turned slightly toward Bennett. "Run the plate again." Bennett spoke into his radio, waited, then frowned. "No stolen hit so far." Mercer looked back at Naomi. "Registration. It will not give you the answer you think it will." "Whose car is it?" "That is exactly why you need a supervisor." Another patrol unit turned onto the block, its lights washing the wet pavement in blue. Naomi's jaw tightened. Every additional cruiser made the operation more visible. Across the hotel entrance, 2 guests had already stopped beneath the awning to watch. Mercer mistook her silence for hesitation. "You picked the wrong car tonight." Naomi finally turned her full attention toward him. Her eyes were calm, but there was steel behind them. "No, Sergeant. You picked the wrong conclusion." Bennett looked at Mercer. Mercer looked at Naomi. Then, behind them, an engine started inside the garage. Naomi's eyes snapped toward the sound. The dark sport utility vehicle began rolling toward the exit. "Officer," she said quietly, "if you want to know what I have been watching, there is your answer." 3 hours earlier, Naomi Carter had been carrying a clipboard through the Grand Meridian Hotel as if nothing in the building mattered more than table assignments, vendor badges, and delivery schedules. That was exactly how she needed people to see her. Her dark blazer carried a temporary staff tag that read Event Logistics, her hair concealed a nearly invisible earpiece, and the black sedan waiting in the underground garage was registered to a private company whose name meant nothing to anyone searching public records. Naomi had spent 6 weeks becoming forgettable. She knew which banquet manager complained about late flower deliveries, which security guard disappeared for coffee at 9:30, and which service elevator reached the garage without passing the main lobby. More importantly, she knew Victor Kane believed she was harmless. At 8:40 that evening, Victor crossed the ballroom carrying a leather portfolio and speaking quietly to a man Naomi had never seen before. Victor was 44, polished, careful, and patient enough to build a business from stolen luxury vehicles without ever appearing near the theft itself. Cars disappeared in one state, Identification numbers were duplicated or altered through intermediaries, paperwork moved through separate hands, and the vehicles resurfaced hundreds of miles away looking legitimate. Naomi's task was not to catch Victor touching a stolen car. It was to follow him to the people who made the entire system work. She passed him near the ballroom doors without slowing. "Long night?" Victor asked. Naomi gave him the tired smile of an employee who wanted to go home. "You have no idea." He smiled back. "Almost over." Those two words mattered. Through her earpiece came the quiet voice of Special Agent Rebecca Shaw. "Stay with the plan." Naomi adjusted the clipboard under her arm, the movement disguising her response. "Understood." Victor entered an elevator toward the garage. Naomi waited 30 seconds before taking the service stairs. The concrete stairwell smelled faintly of rain and cleaning solution. By the time she reached the lower level, Victor was standing near a dark sport utility vehicle, checking his phone. Another man approached, spoke with him briefly, then walked away. Naomi did not look directly at either of them. She continued toward the task force sedan as though her shift had ended. Her job was simple now. Get inside. Leave naturally. Follow Victor when he moved. Agents positioned farther out would take over once he led them to the next location. Naomi unlocked the sedan and placed her clipboard on the passenger seat. Across the garage, Victor opened his vehicle but did not get in. He was waiting for something. Naomi checked the side mirror. A woman near the hotel entrance was staring toward her. Naomi noticed but dismissed it. Hotel guests stared at staff all the time. Then the woman raised a phone. Naomi could not hear the conversation from 60 feet away, but she saw the woman glance at the sedan, glance back at Naomi, and speak with increasing urgency. Naomi felt a quiet pressure settle behind her ribs. "Rebecca," she murmured. "Possible complication." "What kind?" Naomi watched the woman end the call and retreat beneath the hotel awning. "Not sure yet." Less than 2 minutes later, headlights swept across the garage entrance. A police cruiser turned onto the block. Naomi looked toward Victor. He had noticed it too. His hand stopped on the sport utility vehicle door. "Local police approaching," Naomi said quietly. Rebecca answered immediately. "Do not expose your cover unless you have no other option." Naomi closed her eyes for half a second. "Understood." Then a second cruiser appeared behind the first. Naomi stepped out of the sedan before either vehicle stopped. She kept both hands visible. Sergeant Daniel Mercer opened his door and looked directly at her. Not at Victor. Not at the garage. At her. His flashlight came up. "Step away from the car." Naomi obeyed. Across the garage, Victor slowly closed his vehicle door and disappeared back toward the hotel entrance. 6 weeks of work had just started walking away. 10 minutes before Mercer's flashlight found Naomi, Sergeant Daniel Mercer had been sitting behind the wheel of his patrol cruiser 2 blocks from the Grand Meridian, finishing a report while rain tapped softly against the windshield. Officer Luke Bennett sat in the passenger seat, scrolling through dispatch notes on the mobile terminal. The shift had been quiet enough that Mercer had already started thinking about the coffee waiting back at the precinct when the radio broke the silence. Unit 12, possible auto theft at the Grand Meridian Hotel. Caller reports a black female entering a late-model luxury sedan in the lower parking area. Ownership unknown. Mercer reached for the radio. Unit 12 responding. Bennett looked at the screen. "Do we have a plate?" "Not yet." "Vehicle reported stolen." Bennett asked. Dispatch answered after a brief pause. "Negative confirmation. Caller only reports suspicious activity." Mercer put the cruiser in gear. "We will sort it out when we get there." Bennett watched the hotel lights grow larger through the rain. He had worked with Mercer for 8 months, long enough to recognize the older officer's habits. Mercer trusted experience. He believed hesitation created problems and that people usually revealed themselves in the first 30 seconds of an encounter. Most nights, that confidence made him efficient. Sometimes Bennett wondered whether it made him too certain. "Could just be her car," Bennett said. Mercer glanced at him. "Could be. Then why send 2 units?" Hotel called it in after the guest contacted the front desk. Expensive property, expensive cars. They want it checked. Bennett looked again at the dispatch screen. No stolen vehicle report. No confirmed owner complaint. No description beyond a black woman and a black sedan. Plate should tell us something. Eventually. Mercer turned into the hotel entrance. Ahead, Naomi was already stepping from the sedan. Mercer saw the car first, polished and expensive beneath the garage lights. Then he saw Naomi in a dark blazer with a temporary hotel staff badge clipped near her waist. She stood beside the driver's door, hands visible, expression unreadable. Mercer stopped the cruiser at an angle and stepped out. Bennett followed. Step away from the car. Naomi moved back without argument. That should have lowered the temperature of the encounter, but Mercer's attention had already settled on the mismatch he thought he saw: temporary hotel employee, luxury sedan, nervous caller, late hour. He raised his flashlight. "Is this your vehicle?" "Run the plate," Naomi answered. Mercer's eyebrows tightened. "I asked if it is your vehicle. And I am telling you the plate will help." Bennett watched her closely. She was not scanning for an escape route. She was not fumbling for an explanation. Her breathing was controlled. What she kept watching was the far garage ramp. Mercer noticed it too, but interpreted it differently. "What are you looking at?" Naomi said nothing for a second. A dark sport utility vehicle was visible deeper inside the garage, although neither officer had any reason yet to care about it. Mercer stepped closer. Identification. Naomi kept her hands at her sides. "Call your supervisor." Bennett looked at her more carefully. Most people who wanted to avoid police involvement did not. Ask for more police supervision. Mercer heard something else in the request. Challenge. You do not get to dictate the stop. I am not trying to. Naomi's eyes moved once more toward the garage. I am trying to stop you from making a mistake. Mercer keyed his radio. Send me another unit. Bennett turned toward him. Sergeant, the plate still has no stolen hit. Mercer lowered the radio. Then we verify the driver. Across the garage, Naomi saw the dark vehicle's lights come on. Her expression changed for the first time. Not fear. Urgency. Bennett followed her gaze. Who is over there? Naomi looked at him, then at Mercer. Someone you are giving a very good reason to leave. Naomi watched the dark sport utility vehicle disappear behind a concrete column, and the pressure behind her ribs sharpened. Victor had not left the garage yet, but he had changed his mind about waiting. That alone could unravel 6 weeks of work. Sergeant, Naomi said, keeping her hands visible, call your supervisor now. Mercer's flashlight remained fixed near her shoulder. You keep saying that like it changes the situation. It changes more than you understand. Bennett glanced toward the garage ramp. The vehicle she was watching just moved. Mercer did not look away from Naomi. We are dealing with this vehicle first. Naomi's jaw tightened. That is exactly the problem. Rain drifted through the open side of the garage, tapping against the sedan roof in soft, steady clicks. Mercer stepped closer to the driver's window and shined his light across the interior. A clipboard rested on the passenger seat beside a hotel parking pass and a plain black folder. Nothing looked disturbed. Nothing looked hurried. Registration, he asked. The registered owner is not going to help you without the right verification. That sounds convenient. Naomi looked directly at him. It is inconvenient for everyone standing here. Bennett returned to the cruiser terminal and ran the plate again. Still no stolen report. Registration comes back to North Star Fleet Services. Mercer turned. You know that company? Naomi did not answer immediately. North Star existed for one reason, to keep federal vehicles from pointing back to federal personnel during sensitive investigations. Explaining that aloud would expose the cover just as surely as opening her credential wallet. I know enough to tell you the vehicle is not stolen. Mercer folded his arms. And I am supposed to take your word for it? No. You are supposed to verify before you conclude. A third patrol car entered the hotel lane, its emergency lights reflecting across the wet concrete ceiling. Naomi closed her eyes for half a second. More lights. More uniforms. More attention. Across the lobby windows, guests had begun gathering near the glass. Victor would see all of it if he reached the front entrance. Bennett noticed Naomi looking at the growing crowd. Why does the attention bother you? Because somebody inside that hotel needs to believe tonight is normal. Mercer gave a short, skeptical breath. Who? Naomi looked toward the elevator doors. I cannot tell you that here. Then you are not giving me much to work with. I gave you the plate. I gave you a supervisor request. I stayed exactly where you told me to stay. Her voice remained controlled. What part of that looks like someone trying to run? Bennett said nothing, but his expression shifted. Mercer seemed to hear the challenge rather than the logic. Open the trunk. Naomi stared at him. Do you have a reason to search it? The question created a brief silence. Bennett looked at Mercer. Mercer's mouth tightened. I am asking for consent. Then no. Naomi's answer came immediately. I do not consent to a search. Another siren approached from the next block. Naomi could almost feel the investigation collapsing around her. Her earpiece remained silent. Rebecca Shaw was listening, but Naomi knew the rule: the task force would not intervene unless the operation became impossible to protect. Mercer pointed toward the sidewalk beyond the garage entrance. Step over there while we sort this out. Naomi moved slowly, every instinct telling her to keep the encounter calm. As she reached the curb, the elevator doors opened behind Mercer. A man in a charcoal overcoat stepped into the garage. Victor Kane. He saw the patrol cars first. Then Mercer. Then Naomi standing beneath the red and blue lights. His face barely changed, but Naomi caught the smallest hesitation in his step. That was enough. Victor understood something was wrong. He turned casually toward the hotel lobby instead of the sport utility vehicle. Naomi looked at Bennett. The man in the gray coat. Bennett followed her eyes. What about him? Remember his face? Mercer turned toward Victor, then back to Naomi. Why? Naomi watched Victor disappear through the lobby doors. 6 weeks of patience vanished behind the glass. Because while you were deciding what I looked like, she said quietly, the person you should have been watching just walked away. Victor Kane disappeared through the hotel lobby doors, and Naomi felt 6 weeks of careful work narrowing to a single decision. She could protect her cover, or she could stop Mercer from turning the entire block into a warning signal. She could not do both much longer. Sergeant, reduce the lights and call your supervisor, she said. Mercer stared at her. You are still giving orders. I am giving you a chance to verify what I am telling you. Another patrol car rolled into position near the curb. Its red and blue light swept across the hotel windows, drawing more faces toward the glass. Naomi counted 4 police vehicles now. 4 light bars. Too much attention. Bennett stepped closer to Mercer. Sergeant, nothing on the plate says stolen. We have no owner reporting it missing. Mercer glanced at him. We have a caller reporting suspicious access. Naomi shook her head. A caller saw a black woman enter an expensive car and decided that was enough. Mercer's expression tightened. Nobody said anything about race. They did not have to. The words landed quietly. Naomi did not raise her voice. She did not need to. Rainwater ran from the edge of the garage roof and struck the pavement in steady drops. Mercer looked toward the sedan again. Give me your driver's license. Naomi knew the license in her wallet supported her cover identity. Showing it would not resolve the vehicle registration, and every additional database check increased the chance that local police would stumble into information meant to stay compartmentalized. I will identify myself to your supervisor. Mercer took a slow breath. You are making a simple situation complicated. No, Naomi said. The situation was complicated before you arrived. You just did not know it. Bennett looked through the lobby glass. The man in the gray coat is moving toward the east hallway. Naomi followed his gaze. Victor was walking without urgency, exactly as a careful man would walk when he sensed danger but did not want anyone to know he sensed it. Can you have someone watch the east exit without approaching him? Naomi asked. Mercer gave her an incredulous look. You expect me to deploy officers because you point at a stranger? I expect you to notice that I have been more concerned about him than about 4 police cars surrounding me. Bennett's face changed slightly. He understood the logic even if he did not understand the reason. Mercer keyed his radio. Hold units on this location. Naomi's stomach sank. The sirens continued. A hotel employee stepped outside beneath the awning, speaking into a phone. 2 guests were openly recording now. Somewhere inside the building, Victor had contacts who would hear about the police presence within minutes. Naomi turned toward Mercer. Every light on this block is telling the person I am watching that something went wrong. Mercer lowered his radio. Then tell me who you are. Naomi was silent. That was the question she had been trying not to answer. Rebecca Shaw's voice finally came through the nearly invisible earpiece beneath Naomi's hair. Carter, Kane is redirecting toward the service garage. We are losing the original route. Naomi kept her expression neutral. Mercer could not hear Rebecca, but Bennett noticed the tiny movement of Naomi's eyes as she listened. You wearing an earpiece? He asked. Mercer looked closer. Naomi did not respond. Bennett stepped nearer, curiosity replacing suspicion. Sergeant, something is off here. Mercer studied Naomi. What are you involved in? Naomi looked toward the service garage. A dark sport utility vehicle appeared behind the glass doors, moving slowly toward the exit. Victor was changing vehicles. Or returning to the one he had abandoned. Either way, the window was closing. Mercer's radio crackled as another unit asked for instructions. Naomi looked at the flashing patrol cars, then at the garage, then directly at Mercer. You wanted the truth, she said. But once I show you, you cannot put it back. Mercer's expression did not change. Show me. Naomi took one slow breath. I am going to reach inside my coat. Bennett straightened immediately. Mercer's attention sharpened. Naomi kept both movements deliberate and visible. My inside left pocket, she said. There is a credential wallet inside. Her fingers stopped at the edge of her coat. Rain hissed softly against the pavement beyond the garage. Before I take it out, Naomi said, turn your radio down and do not say what you see out loud. Mercer stared at Naomi's hand resting near the inside of her coat. For the first time since the stop began, he did exactly what she asked. He lowered the volume on his radio. Bennett stepped closer, positioning himself where he could see her hands clearly without crowding her. Naomi moved slowly. 2 fingers entered the inside pocket. She removed a slim black leather wallet and held it at chest level. I am opening it now, she said. Mercer gave a short nod. Naomi flipped the wallet open. Bennett saw the federal seal first. His expression changed before he could hide it. His shoulders dropped slightly, and the suspicion in his eyes disappeared beneath immediate recognition. Mercer leaned closer. The rain, the flashing lights, the murmurs from hotel guests under the awning all seemed to fall away for half a second. He read Naomi's name. Then the agency designation beneath it. Then he looked at her photograph. His eyes returned to her face. This cannot be real. Naomi did not react. There is a verification number on the back. Bennett looked at Mercer. Sergeant. Mercer took another look at the credential. Why did you not show this immediately? Because I am undercover. Naomi's answer was barely above a whisper. And half the hotel is watching you surround me. Mercer glanced toward the lobby windows. Several phones were still raised. Naomi closed the wallet. Enough to shield the identifying details. Do not say the agency name over the radio. Bennett nodded quickly. Mercer remained silent. Naomi looked toward the service garage. The dark sport utility vehicle had stopped near the exit lane, waiting behind a delivery van. Victor still had not cleared the property. There was still time, but not much. Call the number, Naomi said. Mercer turned away from the crowd and used his department phone rather than broadcasting through dispatch. The verification line answered after 2 rings. Mercer gave his name, badge number, and location. Then he read the credential number quietly. Naomi watched his face. The change was subtle at first. His forehead tightened. His gaze moved from the phone to Naomi, then toward the garage. "Yes," Mercer said. "Understood." He listened for several seconds. "Yes, ma'am." Bennett raised his eyebrows at the final word. Mercer ended the call. Before he could speak, his department phone rang again. The screen showed Captain Eric Holloway. Mercer answered immediately. "Captain." Holloway did not waste time. Even Naomi could hear the force of his voice through the receiver. "Turn off the sirens. Shut down the light show. Clear unnecessary units off that block now." Mercer looked around at the patrol cars. "Yes, sir. And do exactly what Agent Carter tells you until I arrive." Mercer's face went still. "Understood." He lowered the phone. For one long second, nobody spoke. Then Mercer keyed his radio. "All units, kill sirens. Emergency lights off unless required for traffic safety. Units not assigned directly to me, clear the area." The first siren died. Then the second. A third stopped halfway through its rising note. The flashing reflections vanished from one hotel window after another until the garage was left beneath ordinary white ceiling lights and the soft gray shimmer of rain beyond the entrance. The sudden quiet felt larger than the noise had. Naomi could hear water dripping from the concrete ramp. She could hear the hotel doors opening and closing. She could hear Bennett breathe out slowly beside her. Mercer looked at Naomi as though seeing her for the first time. "Agent Carter," he said. Quietly. Naomi closed the credential wallet and returned it to her coat. "Do not apologize yet." Mercer blinked. Naomi pointed with her eyes toward the service exit. The delivery van had moved. Victor's sport utility vehicle was rolling forward. "You want to fix what happened here?" she asked. Mercer followed her gaze. "Tell me how." Naomi's voice remained calm. "Keep that exit looking normal, move your remaining cars out of sight, and let my team do their job." Mercer moved first. He turned toward the remaining patrol cars and pointed 2 officers toward the far side of the block. "Pull back. No lights. Keep the hotel entrance clear." Bennett was already moving toward their cruiser. "Where do you want us?" Naomi watched Victor's sport utility vehicle creep closer to the service exit. "Nowhere near him. If he thinks this is a police operation, he changes everything." Mercer looked at her. "Then what are we doing? Making this street boring again?" The answer seemed almost absurd after the chaos of the last 20 minutes, but Mercer understood. He ordered one cruiser to leave through the north entrance and another to park behind a delivery building where it could not be seen from the garage. The transformation happened quickly. Red reflections disappeared from the windows. Radios grew quiet. Officers stopped clustering near Naomi. Hotel guests gradually lowered their phones when there was nothing dramatic left to record. The rain became the loudest thing on the block. Naomi pressed one finger lightly against her earpiece. "Rebecca, local scene is clearing." Special Agent Rebecca Shaw answered immediately. "We have Kane on camera. He is moving toward the West Service Road. Surveillance teams are repositioning. Do not stop him here." Agreed. Mercer heard only Naomi's side of the conversation. A few minutes earlier, he had treated every unexplained detail as proof that she was hiding wrongdoing. Now each detail revealed how much he had never known. Bennett returned from the cruiser. "Sergeant, Captain Holloway is 8 minutes out." Naomi shook her head. "He should not come here yet." Mercer almost objected from habit, then stopped himself. "Why?" "Too many. Command vehicles bring the attention back." Mercer nodded and called Holloway. This time he asked instead of assumed. The difference was small enough that nobody else would have noticed, but Naomi did. Victor's sport utility vehicle reached the end of the garage ramp. Its turn signal blinked. Once. Twice. Then it entered the street and headed west at an ordinary speed. Naomi did not move. Neither did Mercer. "That is him?" Bennett asked quietly. "That is the man you need to forget you saw," Naomi said. Bennett glanced toward the vehicle until it disappeared around the corner. Your people have him. They have eyes on him. Mercer frowned. Why not stop him now? Naomi looked at him. Because one stolen car is not the case. Mercer said nothing. Naomi continued. Kane does not steal vehicles himself. He connects people. Drivers, paperwork, altered identification numbers, storage locations, buyers across state lines. If we take him tonight without knowing where he is going, we get one man. If we let him lead us forward, we get the structure behind him. Mercer absorbed that slowly. The call that had brought him here suddenly seemed smaller than he wanted to admit. A stranger had seen Naomi beside an expensive car. From that observation came suspicion. From suspicion came police cars. Changed instantly. Copy. Mercer noticed. What happened? Naomi looked west, toward streets already empty of flashing lights. The operation is still alive. For the first time that night, Mercer seemed relieved by something that had nothing to do with proving himself right. Then Naomi added quietly, now we find out whether your mistake cost us anything. Naomi listened as Rebecca Shaw relayed Victor Kane's movement through the earpiece. Secondary vehicle confirmed. Both vehicles are heading west on Jefferson. Surveillance has them. Naomi looked at Mercer. Your mistake did not cost us the operation. Relief crossed his face, but she did not let him settle into it. Not yet. Bennett remained near the cruiser, watching the now quiet hotel entrance. Captain Eric Holloway arrived several minutes later in an unmarked sedan, exactly as Naomi had requested. No emergency lights. No visible rush. He stepped out beneath the rain, closed the door, and walked directly toward Mercer. Sergeant. Mercer straightened. Captain. Holloway looked at Naomi first. Agent Carter. Yes. He offered a brief nod. Special Agent Shaw explained enough for me to understand the situation. Mercer started to speak. Captain, I can explain. Holloway raised one hand. You will. Later. The words carried no anger, only finality. Naomi appreciated that. Public humiliation would solve nothing, and she had no interest in using her credential the way Mercer had used his assumptions. Her attention remained on the operation. Rebecca spoke again. Carter, Kane stopped at a commercial storage property 9 miles west. Buyer vehicle entered behind him. We have visual confirmation on 3 additional subjects. Naomi exhaled slowly. That was what they had been waiting for. Not Victor alone. The network around him. Maintain surveillance, she said. No approach until the team confirms the location. Mercer looked toward her. You still need anything from us? Naomi considered him for a moment. An hour earlier, the question would have sounded impossible coming from the same man. Keep this block quiet and preserve every recording from the stop. Mercer's expression tightened slightly. Body. Cameras. All of them. Holloway answered before Mercer could. They will be preserved. Bennett looked at his captain. Sir, I want my footage reviewed too. Mercer turned toward him. Bennett kept his voice steady. I saw the plate was not reported stolen. I knew something about the situation did not fit. I should have pushed harder. Holloway studied him, then nodded once. Put that in writing. Naomi watched Bennett absorb the instruction. Accountability was rarely dramatic. Most of the time, it looked exactly like this, someone choosing to record the part of the story that made them uncomfortable. Mercer looked toward the sedan Naomi had been accused of taking. Rainwater traced thin silver lines across its hood. The caller saw you get into that car, he said. That was the beginning of the report. Naomi turned toward him. The caller saw me get into a car. She thought it looked suspicious. Why? Mercer did not answer. Naomi waited. No accusation. No raised voice. Just the question. Holloway glanced at Mercer but did not rescue him from the silence. Finally, Mercer said, because she did not think you belonged in it. Naomi's gaze stayed on him. And when you arrived? Mercer looked down the street. I thought the same thing faster than I should have. You did more than think it. The words were quiet. You built the entire stop around it. Mercer nodded once, reluctantly. Naomi continued. The plate was not stolen. Nobody claiming ownership reported the vehicle missing. I cooperated with your instructions. I asked for supervision. Every fact gave you another direction to look. Mercer met her eyes. I kept looking at you. Yes. The admission seemed heavier than an argument would have been. Rebecca's voice interrupted the silence. Carter, confirmation received. Kane is meeting the buyer. Federal units are moving into position under the original plan. Naomi touched the earpiece. Copy. She looked toward Holloway. My team has what it needs. Holloway nodded. Then we will handle what happened here. Mercer seemed to understand exactly what that meant. Internal review. Body camera, dispatch record, radio traffic, and the basis for the extended. Stop, Holloway said. All of it. Mercer accepted the words without protest. Naomi turned toward the black sedan and opened the driver's door. Before getting inside, she looked back at him. Sergeant, I was not right because I had a federal credential. Mercer remained still. Naomi placed one hand on the door. I was right before you ever saw it. Mercer lowered his eyes. Behind them, the block stayed quiet. No sirens. No flashing lights. Only rain falling against the pavement while the truth finally had enough silence to be heard. For weeks later, Naomi Carter walked out of a federal office building just after 5 in the afternoon with nothing visible that suggested who she was. No credential around her neck. No temporary hotel badge. No black sedan waiting at the curb. Just a dark coat, a paper cup of coffee, and the tired expression of someone finishing another long day. The operation involving Victor Kane had ended quietly. The surveillance team followed him from the Grand Meridian to a commercial storage facility 9 miles west, where investigators confirmed the meeting Naomi had spent 6 weeks trying to reach. Records recovered through the investigation connected several vehicles, multiple shell businesses, and the people who had helped move them across state lines. Naomi never thought of that outcome as revenge for what happened outside the hotel. The case had existed before Sergeant Daniel Mercer stopped her, and justice did not become more meaningful simply because someone who had doubted her was forced to watch it succeed. The other investigation had moved forward too. Captain Eric Holloway ordered a review of the dispatch recording, body camera footage, plate checks, radio traffic, and the decisions that extended Naomi's detention after no stolen vehicle report had been confirmed. Officer Luke Bennett gave a complete statement, including the moments when he recognized that the facts did not support Mercer's assumptions but remained too quiet. Mercer was temporarily reassigned from patrol while the department completed its review and required him to begin additional training focused on constitutional stops, de-escalation, and bias awareness. Naomi had been asked whether she wanted harsher consequences. She gave the same answer each time. I want the truth written down correctly. That mattered more to her than humiliation. A person could survive embarrassment and learn nothing. A record forced people to face what actually happened. Naomi crossed the street toward a small parking lot when a patrol cruiser slowed near the corner. Her body reacted before her mind did. She stopped. The cruiser pulled to the curb without emergency lights. Mercer stepped out. He was still in uniform, but there was something different in the way he approached. He stopped several feet away instead of closing the distance. Agent Carter. Naomi held her coffee with both hands. Sergeant. Mercer looked toward the traffic passing behind her. I heard the Kane operation worked out. It did. I am glad. Naomi waited. Mercer seemed to search for a prepared sentence, then abandoned it. I have replayed that night more times than I want to admit. Naomi said nothing. The caller gave us almost nothing, he continued. No confirmed theft. No owner. No stolen plate. Just a woman getting into an expensive car. He looked at Naomi. I filled in everything else myself. Wind moved a few dry leaves along the curb. Naomi watched him without rescuing him from the discomfort. Mercer lowered his eyes. I thought experience meant I could recognize trouble faster than other people. He paused. What I recognized that night was my own assumption. Naomi's expression softened, but only slightly. Knowing that now does not change what happened. I know. It changes what happens next. Mercer nodded. That is why I came. Naomi looked toward the cruiser. What are you going to do differently? He answered without hesitation. Ask first. Verify. Listen longer than my first impression. Naomi held his gaze. Then do that when the person standing in front of you cannot show you a federal credential. Mercer went still. That was the lesson neither investigation report nor training course could make comfortable. Naomi had not deserved respect because she was an undercover federal investigator. She had deserved it when Mercer believed she was an ordinary black woman standing beside a car he thought was too expensive for her. The credential had changed his behavior. It had not changed her worth. Mercer nodded slowly. You are right. Naomi took another sip of coffee. Make sure the next person does not need to prove that. Mercer returned to his cruiser. No handshake. No dramatic forgiveness. No promise that one conversation had repaired everything. He started the engine and pulled away from the curb. There were no flashing lights. No siren. Just an ordinary police car disappearing into afternoon traffic. Naomi continued toward the parking lot, her credential still hidden inside her coat. For once, it did not matter who knew she carried it. What mattered was the question left behind for everyone who heard her story: if Naomi had truly been nothing more than an ordinary woman getting into her own car that night, would she have deserved any less dignity, patience, or respect?